Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show and I'm your host, Kieran Mack. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and like that video. So let's just jump into today. So we'll start off with the Phuket flights. Direct flights have been somewhat released to the market right now. So I see there's a number of flights that are becoming direct from various parts of Europe, etc. I think if you see on the screen there, we have the airlines currently that will have flight schedules starting July will be Thai Airways, Qatar, Emirates, Eva Air. We'll have Singapore Airlines, Turkish Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and El Al Israel Airlines. It looks like Thai Airways will be doing a Frankfurt-Phuket route, a Paris-Phuket, London, and then Copenhagen-Phuket. Qatar Airways looks like it's going to be doing Doha-Phuket. Emirates Dubai to Phuket. Eva Air will look like it's going to be Taipei to Phuket. I'll comment on these in a second as well because I'm not 100% sure these are really 100% accurate. Singapore Airlines, obviously Singapore to Phuket. Istanbul, Phuket with Turkish Airlines. Cathay Pacific will be doing a Hong Kong, Phuket. And then obviously Israeli El Al Airways will be doing Tel Aviv, Phuket. Now there's a couple of these that strike me as a bit odd. Eva Air, Taipei to Phuket, which obviously is in Taiwan. Taiwan currently is in a bit of a lockdown, so I can't see too many people being able to fly there. Fly from there to here to go back to do a quarantine because Taiwan is basically closed to outsiders right now. Singapore also is very similar because they also have a quarantine on arrival, I believe, on the way back because they're going through a bit of another wave right now. So they're being quite sensible about things over there, and they're kind of taking a kind of a stricter approach, not a lockdown as such, but a little stricter. Frankfurt will be okay. Paris, London, Copenhagen, yeah. Now some people are probably asking, now what about like more flights from the likes of Nordic countries, let's say Norway or Sweden or Finland? I say these are commercial airlines that are flying, but I am going to make a presumption that we are going to have charter flights from the likes of TUI that will start flying from Sweden and various other countries. If you know about TUI would have flights from London. I think they used to have direct flights from, I think it was Manchester, it could have been Birmingham, not 100% sure, to Phuket. So there will be direct flights from Nordic countries as well, and I'd say they'll be put on by TUI. Probably not around July, but further down the line, I would say maybe September, October. Now that's just my thinking. I don't think they'd even have enough passengers to do a direct flight in July for that. But that's just a little update on the Phuket direct flight situation. If we get any more knowledge, I am hoping that the Phuket sandbox model, the full details will be released, and as soon as it is, I'll obviously have a quick update on the channel for you. Singapore provisionally approves a 60-second COVID-19 breathalyzer test. Singapore authorities have provisionally approved a COVID-19 breathalyzer test that aims to show whether someone is infected with the coronavirus in under a minute, according to the local startup that developed the product. Breathalyzer, a spin-off company from the National University of Singapore, said it is now working with the Health Ministry to run a deployment trial of the technology at one of the city-state's border points with Malaysia. The breath analysis will be carried out alongside the current compulsory 19 antigen test. The breath test achieved more than 90% accuracy in a Singapore-based pilot clinical trial, the company said last year. The Health Science Authority website confirmed the approval, which the company said was the first such system to secure approval authorization in Singapore. The system uses disposable mouthpieces and is designed to ensure that there is no cross-contamination. After blowing into the device, the technology assesses the chemical compounds of the breath to determine whether or not a person is infected. Any individual screened as positive will need to undergo a confirmation polymer chain reaction swab tests, the company said. Breathalyzer said it's in discussion with several local and overseas organisations to use the system, citing strong commercial interest. Other countries, including Indonesia and the Netherlands, have rolled out similar breath tests. So that is quite an interesting piece of technology that they've come up with. I mean, if anybody's ever actually undergone one of those invasive swab tests that pretty much touch your brain when they stick it up your nose, you will know it's a very uncomfortable thing. So having something as simple as a breathalyzer, I think, would make things a lot easier, be a lot faster, obviously, because, you know, it's determined straight away whether or not you have COVID or not. And you certainly wouldn't be waiting around 30 minutes for the rapid antigen test, or, you know, a day for the COVID PCR test. So this is definitely a great piece of technology, and hopefully we could see something like this maybe being used in Thailand and certainly other places around the world. Dozens arrested in raid on gay CHEMSEX party. Bangkok's police said on Sunday that they had arrested 62 men for breaching coronavirus restrictions in a raid on a gay CHEMSEX party, the country's largest such crackdown during the pandemic. The men were arrested on Saturday night in Farah Sauna 2, where police also found drugs, needles and used condoms, said Police Colonel Ekapad Tanprayun, who is the superintendent of the Bangkok police station. In the past, we have reprimanded people for gathering to drink at home, he said. But under the current circumstances, there shouldn't be so many people in such a crowded area, adding that the sauna had 2 buildings, one with 50 bedrooms and a swimming pool and karaoke. As Thailand grapples with a third COVID-19 wave, campaigners are warning of the health risks posed by an apparent increase in CHEMSEX, where mainly gay and bisexual men meet to take drugs such as crystal meth, and unprotected sex is common. Despite being a largely conservative Buddhist society, the country has a reputation for the relaxed attitude towards gender and sexual diversity since homosexuality was decriminalized in 1956. Yet, LGBT and people often face discrimination and stigma in schools, the workplace and in healthcare facilities, and are often rejected by their families. People who attended the party and its organisers face charges of violating the emergency decree put in place last March to combat COVID-19, the police colonel said, and could face up to 2 years in prison and a fine of up to 40,000 baht. Some 30 people have also tested positive for drugs so far and will be charged with drug-related crimes, he said. CHEMSEX users are at risk of drug addiction or overdoses as well as mental health problems, according to campaigners. Nikorn Chimkong, president of the Bangkok Rainbow Organization, an LGBT advocacy group, said he was concerned the arrests would contribute to the image of gay men being promiscuous and spreading disease. CHEMSEX parties are a new normal amid the pandemic, and what is worrying is the health of those attending, such as the risks of contracting COVID-19 and HIV, he added. I actually had no idea what a CHEMSEX party was until about 30 minutes ago, where I looked it up. And a CHEMSEX means using drugs as part of your sex life, and it is most common among gay and bi men. There are typically 3 specific chems, or drugs, involved. People say these drugs make them feel less inhibited and increase pleasure. What are CHEMSEX drugs? Well, the 3 main drugs people take as part of CHEMSEX are methamphetamine, methadone and GHB. I never heard of any of this, but it does seem slightly crazy in such a pandemic that, you know, something like this is going on. And really, you know, a little bit of common sense, I think, it is very much needed in these times. And I don't think any common sense was being used here. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.